Hello, welcome to the Little Castle on the Hill, built in 1907 for $8,000. We'd like to show you a little bit, a piece of history of Pacifica. We've got the front room here that is a garden room or sunroom. Imagine sitting here watching the sunset, having an afternoon cocktail or a cup of tea. It has the original glass, original windows, this beautiful shiplap siding and ceiling. This is the living room. This is one of the main sitting areas. You can imagine sitting next to this fireplace. This is a stone or a brick fireplace. It's a wood-burning fireplace. We've got the beautiful wood trim in the room. We've got this beautiful wallpaper that came from a company, Bradbury, and it definitely reflects the period of the property, the Edwardian style. The light fixture came from the actual castle behind the property, donated by Sam Mazza. This is the grand arts and crafts style design that Henry Dennison and his partner constructed in the 1907 period when they built the property. Now, from the living room, we go to the dining area, but I also want to mention the beautiful hardwood floors. These are original hardwood floors of the property. They've been maintained as well as possible for a flooring that was built in 1907. But in the dining area, you can imagine sitting here next to one of the brick stone fireplaces and the beautiful wood beam ceilings.
The ceiling looks like it is William Morris design.
Yeah, you've got, looks probably some kind of a clay pottery with the oranges or maybe even lemons. And this looks like cabbage. And maybe sunflower here. And the sky and the stars, really, really quite beautiful. And I also want to point out the beautiful wood trim around the walls, which was part of the design of that period with the high trim and cornices and also the ceiling trim. Very detailed. This is the room off of the dining area. This room was probably a servant's quarters, either a maid or a butler. It's not a very large room, but it's enough for someone to sleep. There's a closet and there's also a bathroom. So they probably stayed here. And when it was time to prepare, they just walked right over to the kitchen.
I see. Well, do you think that Mr. Dennison was rich enough to have a servant?
I think so. I mean, being associated with the Ocean Shore Railroad, he was one of the general managing secretaries and built this house for $8,000. That was probably worth
amazing. $8,000.
a couple of million back then, I would think.
Fantastic. Well, he certainly had the artistic background in order to be able to create something like this.
Yeah.
He was went on to be part of the Panama Pacific Exposition, head of horticulture.
Head of horticulture, yes, exactly. And when he left Pacifica, he went to, I think it was it Palo Alto? Yeah, and he did all kinds of art that anywhere from goldsmithing to silversmithing to creating pottery. So he's quite a talented man.
I understand he revived some ancient Egyptian process of enameling.
Took him years to figure out, because there wasn't a recipe for that. It took him years to figure that out. But
be great to have a piece of his sculpture.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Be wonderful. Yeah. Well, he certainly left his mark here in Pacifica with this gorgeous house.
Yes, he did. And there are some people that don't even know that this property existed. There are some people that have visited so far that have wanted to live here or tried to buy it. And I think each family member family that has lived here has left their mark on the property with restoration or remodeling and repairs.
Well, I'm happy to have gotten a chance to see the inside.
I know.
After all these years.
After all these years.
It's an unusual door. Tell me about that door.
Well, this is what they call a swinging door, and it's got a nice piece of glass in it that you can see into the kitchen from the dining area. This brings you in, very practical, brings you into the kitchen. And I think it's pretty safe to say that these probably are not the original cabinets, but were remodeled along the way, kind of a mission style. But look at this stove, this Wedgwood stove.
Vintage, yes.
Yes, very, very vintage. So someone who wanted to preserve some sort of vintage piece brought this in.
It's in great condition.
Really good condition. Well, as you and I were talking, they probably had a wood stove in here of some sort. Back in the day, doing the cooking. But the design of the ceiling, the angle, these windows may have been replaced, but this is where you would look out onto the side garden. This is another light piece from the castle. This could have been where a servant, whether it was a maid or a butler, would have sat in this area, because the dining room was meant for the family, where they would sit. Not necessarily eat in, entertainment like we have today.
This wainscoting is fabulous.
It's
embossed.
It's embossed. It almost looks a little copper-like.
It does.
Yeah, and again, this came from the wallpaper company that was hired by Stuart Cross and Judy Johnson, Bradbury. It's very nice.
Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, more stairs.
More stairs. And how many stairs did we count?
I don't know. There must be 150.
Oh, about 58.
58.
And that's from the street coming up to the top here.
Is that all?
Is that all? That's not enough for you? Keeps you in shape.
Oh.
I mean, you can imagine if you forgot something upstairs, how many stairs you'd have to, or downstairs to come up. But let's talk about this beautiful wood. And Kathleen was saying this could be a walnut.
Looks like it.
Yeah, a walnut. There was a period of time where one of the owners painted all of the wood white, and 40 years ago when...
Right, you can see the...
Yeah, you can see some of it when, again, Stuart Cross and Judy Johnson purchased the property. They hired a professional faux painter to come in and paint the white with a faux-looking wood paint in it. That's quite a process.
Yeah.
It's got to be 4 to 6 layers of paint. And then the top of this looks like it was sanded and refinished its natural wood. But again, this is all part of the crafts mission style that Henry wanted to bring into the property. So we come up into a foyer area. And I've often wondered with this door here, if you'd close this, and if this was for the children, this is where the adults were, or if it was almost separate, multi-generational, where you've got possibly one family living on this side, another family living on that side, or one person here, another single person there, with a nice little foyer sitting area.
Right.
And again, we have more of this beautiful wallpaper. This looks like an orchid around.
Iris, yes.
Iris, yes. Around with, what do you call those little pussycat tails?
Oh, cattails.
Cattails, and then you've got more sunflowers. Yeah, it's just very well.
A lot of attention to great detail.
Yeah.
Another wonderful chandelier.
Yeah. And then, of course, they pulled the color from the wallpaper to paint the upstairs. This nice mauve color. Okay.
Well, this is a nice view.
It is, and we were just talking about the trees that were planted back, you said, in the 40s?
50s.
50s,
Much,
yeah. And, but it does kind of bring a certain ambiance to the property. But something that's original to the property are these two, they're not statues, but we think they might be called
Finials.
finials. And those are original to the property, but I do like that you have balconies. You don't necessarily have a balcony door, but if you wanted to step out, you could open the window and sit and watch the sunset. But this is the primary bedroom, and you've got this nice angled ceiling here. You've got the high ceilings. You've got this nice trim around the ceiling. You've got
chandelier.
Another beautiful chandelier, 4 panel doors on the interior, and then all of the bedroom doors have 5 panel. What do you call that? Beveled?
Beveled.
Yeah.
And then all the layers there on the side.
Yep. Again,
That trim that's put in so neatly you can't see a seam.
routed.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So we were talking about a 5 panel door today is going to cost about 5 times more than just a solid panel door.
Well, just look at all the trim around here. Just the attention to detail, Christine. Look at up there. Around the doors.
Exactly.
The doorways are wider.
Yeah. Yeah, all of this. I mean, when you think about building a property today, and you would say to your contractor, I'd like all this wood around my property, the windows, the high baseboards. I mean, there's even an additional molding there as well. You're talking a lot more money. I think this was just part of how they built houses way back then. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. And the original fixtures too. That's something you don't see very often. They have been painted over, and probably a number of times.
Lovely bedroom.
Nice size bedroom. Who wouldn't want a bedroom this size? And again, you've got the hardwood flooring that's up here as well. It's actually throughout the whole house.
Surprisingly large closets for a Victorian.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, double doors. Yeah. And all of them have a little window that looks out that you can bring some light into a dark corner.
They hired different architects, and his architect was trying to outdo their architect.
Absolutely, yeah. I could see that happening. I mean, this is the big castle is looming over the little castle, and Henry was probably thinking, I'm the only castle on the little castle on the hill, and here comes the big castle. So I can understand why it would be rivals. Properties that the Ocean Shore Railroad owned that we talked about may have been free to some of the employees. And when Mr. Dennison built this property, again considered himself the little castle on the hill, and then that was in 1907, and then in 1908 it was another family, the McCloskey family, that built the larger castle, and that didn't set very well with...
No, they're so close to each other. When you look at pictures of early Pacifica, there's nothing on this hill at all. There's Anderson's store over there, and then early pictures of this, and then the castle, and there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you wonder why they were built so close to each other.
Probably free lots.
Free lots or inexpensive.
And inexpensive, not only that, but when you're at the top of the castle, you really get to see the beautiful ocean view, the coastline, all of Pacifica, the Sharp Park area, north to south. It's
and of
really,
course, the railroad, they really wanted people to come and live in Pacifica. The idea was to encourage people to come down here, have inexpensive small lots like in Sharp Park.
In Sharp Park, which you have those little cottages.
Lot,
right, small
come
cottages.
Down for summer fun. Wow, this is a great view, Christine.
It's a beautiful view. I can see why they wanted to build here. Free lots, I mean, who couldn't resist that? But this lot that we're standing on is part of the garden, and this was purchased, the Smiths, the second owner, purchased this in order to build a small garage that was at the bottom of the property.
So Christine, this garage looks quite modern.
It is. From 1992, 3 owners ago, built this garage. They actually had to dynamite into the hill. It was quite the news in the county, and it's because the hill has layers and layers and layers of rock. And on top of this garage, they built an accessory dwelling unit for her mother, and accessory dwelling units weren't even heard of back then, but yeah. So, but prior to that, it was a smaller garage that the Smiths built when they bought this lot, because the house itself did not have a lot when, a separate lot with a garage when Henry owned the property, but the Smiths bought the lot, built the garage, and kind of imagine that it probably came to about right here up to the street, and they didn't have electric door openers, and it probably had 2 big doors that opened like this. So every time you drove up, you had to come and open the door, pull your car in, turn around, and then close it. Yeah.
So the outside of the house, now has it changed at all since it was built?
It has.
Something that looks a little different.
Yes, it has changed. So there was actually these original steps here. Well, not the original steps, but the columns. This is the entrance. And so there was a pathway, small pathway that went to that second landing, and then another pathway that started to incline, and then you had the stairs that went to the top of the property. So yeah, so when again, when Stuart and Judy Johnson built this garage area, they built a new set of stairs going up. I believe it was out of all wood, and then the current owner, Virginia Lyons, then reconstructed this area. There was an open porch that she has since enclosed. And
which level?
Okay, so you've got the second level with this first set of stairs, and then once you get to that landing, there's a window there. That used to be an open porch, area on this second level, if you will. Added some extra square footage, which is now considered the fifth bedroom. And then you go up to the very top where the entry is. She has redone all of these stairs in a beautiful, it's a limestone. Very nice, as you can see.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
quite fabulous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is beautiful. And then added some new cedar siding and the cedar shakes and painted. I'm sure she'd be able to tell you the name of the contractor, who's a very famous contractor who works on Victorians and Edwardians.
Wow, very impressive.
It is a very impressive property.
And
yes.
Thank you, Christine. You're an excellent tour guide.
I don't
really
know about that, but
appreciate
thank
it.
you, Kathleen.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Footprints in the sand.